Hey, I'm Jessie Armstead, New York Football Giants, NFL Players Second Acts Podcast.
What's going on? I'm Peanut Tillman, and welcome to the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast. And with me, as always, I got my trusted advisor, my younger, oldest brother, Roman Harper here. And welcome to the show. What's up, baby?
I feel good. This is going to be a great day.
It's going to be a great day.
First, we start off with compliments. This just never happens. I'm really excited about our guest this morning because I was a big fan and played with him with Madden. I hadn't even mentioned that to him yet, but a lot of years playing with this young man on Madden. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're going to dive right in. Let me read some of the resume.
Whoa. I want to make sure our listeners are out there. Hey, continue to give us a follow. Shout out to everybody, wherever you pick up your podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio. Thank you, or the app, iHeartRadio app. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating, a review, and tell a friend to tell a friend. All right, now, Peanut, let's get this thing going.
Let me read the bio.
I got to get back into the magic. Let's go.
Played 11 years in the NFL for the Giants and now the Washington Commanders. Was an All-Pro, made the Pro Bowl 5 times. He is in the New York Giants Ring of Honor. He won a Super Bowl as a member of the Giants front office. Now he's a special assistant to the general manager. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jessie Armstead to the show.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you being here.
Hold on. I got to be honest, because Jesse, you were the first linebacker that I can remember that wore like a 90 number and was like balling. Balling. So like that's what really stood out to me. I played with you for many years on the game, and now I'm in awe of you. I didn't know you were from Texas. I didn't know much about you besides the game. And so this is really cool just being in this moment, sharing this room with you, and getting to know you a little bit more after we've done more research and backstory.
Absolutely. I'm glad to be here also, and hey, I'm open book, man. I'm here. I'll tell you about myself, whatever you want to know.
And I appreciate that. I'm her, like the country accent and all that. Yeah. So I'm a Dallas, or excuse me, not a Dallas. I'm a Fort Hood, Central Texas, Belton, Waco, Temple, Killeen. I'm in that area. Those are my roots where I play some football. So nothing like Dallas Carter, of course. But
we gonna get to that.
I got a whole segment for that because y'all was crazy. Y'all was good. Damn, y'all was good.
So Jesse, let's take it all the way back here. You're a young man. You grew up in like Oak Cliff, right?
Yes.
Is that correct? And you used to always, you guys would have some different things in Birdie Park. All right, Birdie Park, you guys have a lot of action out there. Fisticuffs, going back, whatever it took. And your brother would come and get you and say, hey man, they talking, let's go handle this. And one of these days, one of these times, I guess you guys were fighting, and then next thing you know, a butcher knife was thrown. A third-person party came out of nowhere. A butcher knife was thrown, hit you in the hip. It goes in. You're bleeding everywhere. You go inside the house, your grandma's house, or your mom's house.
My mom's house.
Your mom's house. Yeah. Breaks off, and now you got to have surgery and get this thing out. They say you maybe not be able to walk. Like, just take us there. This is amazing. This is crazy story for you.
What year was that?
Yeah. Like, how does all this happen? And let's take it all the way back to Birdie Park for me and just kind of walk us through everything that is Birdie Park and also that day.
Yeah, so just got into it with these, actually got into it with one brother. And I started fighting my first brother. The second brother came outside, so I was fighting both of those guys.
Okay.
And then the third
clearly
brother.
You were winning.
Yeah, I won, but they stacked the odds against me when the third brother came out, and he was 18, and he came out with the knife.
And how old are you at the time?
And I was like 11, 12.
You were 11, 12,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, about 12.
Okay.
And the odds came against me then, and I tried to get away, and he threw it and went through me. And then they were trying to get to me, and I just jumped on my motorcycle, and I got out of there and made it to the house, blood going everywhere. Went in the house, and I hit off the bars. We got bars on the house, you know, came through and it broke off, and had 2 surgeries later, you know. Got it out, said I have a little limp, you know, for a little while, and went on with a little limp. But then one day I was sitting in the garage, and a snake came through the garage. I've been running ever since then.
Forrest Gump story.
Yeah, that's a Forrest Gump story for you right there. I just was a running. So time out, back up. You just said I left when I was getting jumped, and you hopped on your motorcycle.
Yeah.
This is like dirt bike motorcycle.
Yeah, I had a dirt bike back then. And I didn't know they had a third brother. And he was older, 18, and he came out, and I caught him out the corner of my eye, and he threw it, and it went through me. So
I picture it, and like this sounds like a Hollywood movie, but you're only 12 years old doing all this.
Yeah, I'm just glad that I was either in the shock or whatever. I don't know to make it, because if I fall down, then they got me.
Yeah, fight or flight. Yeah. That's all that was. So how do you think that situation helped transform you? Like helped you out? Do you see things differently? Like how did that like shape you?
It just shaped me to a point where I'm always fight to the end. Always, no matter what the circumstance is, and I always carry that attitude with me, no matter what, and still got it today.
Yeah, man. If you ever see somebody chasing me, I would go. I would gladly go in a fight with you, knowing what you just did. Yeah. Ride or die, my guy.
Just knowing your pain tolerance, like mentally, has that just like kind of taken you to other places? Like, look, it doesn't matter what happens, what situation I am, there is no stopping, there is no going. I mean, I've ran and been on a dirt bike with a knife in my hip, like. Yeah, I'm not trying to be funny, but like,
no, that's
it's just the truth.
That's
like,
real.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm built for anything. Fortunately, I played in the National Football League. Like all my career, never missed a game. Never missed a snap. So fortunate that way. We're hurt many times, but you know how that go.
I do.
Hey, pack up and keep going.
I still want to talk about high school, because I'm sure you guys are like, it's middle of Texas, so it's got to be way hot.
Way hot.
That's when I guess water was, for weaklings, correct?
I'm sure.
No, absolutely, absolutely. You get some water, like you soft. You don't get no water, and then all of a sudden, you waterlogged, So water, you did not get water. You're in the heat of the day and during the hardest time.
All right, so what was it like to play on that Dallas Carter team, 1988? Probably considered to be one of the best,
greatest,
if not the greatest football team ever assembled. And kind of take us back to what it was like to be in that. And what was that even like being? Did you even realize how good you were at the time? And for those that don't know, let's give them a little bit. That's where the movie Friday Night Lights. Yeah. Let's give some context to that.
Yeah.
Dallas Permian was the one that they showcased in the movie. Odessa, sorry.
Yeah.
And versus you guys, sorry. And thank you, Peanut.
They'd be mad.
But they actually
play with our football.
Yeah. You guys actually won the game.
Oh, absolutely. So we all from the same neighborhood. We didn't do no recruiting like they do nowadays, where guys come from all over. We're out the same neighborhood. Bunch of guys that we started as freshmen. I went to Carter High School, not for football, because it's right in my back door. I played basketball.
Okay.
And one day I'm just there at the fence looking at the cheerleaders down at the Calicos and checking them out. And all of a sudden the coach say, "Hey, everybody get down. What position you play?" I looked at the guy next to me. He said, "Play linebacker." I said, "I play linebacker." You know what I mean? So that's how I got started. You know what I mean?
And this you said freshman year, right?
Freshman year.
Okay.
And I got lucky. I got a wife out that deal, because she was down at the being a Calico.
Oh yeah.
And then I got football, and my first time really being an official football player. I played 1 year in the 8th grade, and then in the 9th grade, I came to Carter High School and got on the freshman team. And then my sophomore year, I was #1 player in the nation.
No doubt.
And
I was going to tell them stats.
So it hit instantly #1 player in the nation. So I've been in my whole career like on top. So from high school, then we went on my senior year, and we went on and we won a state championship. And we had great talent on that team.
So you were a three-time All-American in high school. I want to let everybody know.
Baller.
Sophomore year. And he had just started playing. Sophomore year, All-American. Junior year, All-American. You're on all kinds of magazines. And then senior year, you were pretty much the #1 player in the country.
I was #1 player in the country my sophomore year.
Get it right, Ron. Get it right, Ron.
Apologize.
Yeah. It's just being correct.
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, Jesse.
It wasn't so much social media back then, but since now social media.
Oh, you'd have been all that.
Well,
how big were you?
How many tackles did you have in one game?
That's a great question.
Well, my senior I finished with 300 tackles and 16, 12
Y'all
sacks.
playing 6-man football teams? Oh my, 300?
Well, they wouldn't have made it. They wouldn't have made a movie out of a 6-man football team.
That's true. That's true.
We're 5'8", the biggest there is in the state of Texas. But unfortunately, I had a lot of good players that were in the neighborhood. I had Derek Evans, who was #1 DB in the nation, also on that team. Derek going to University of Tennessee, and unfortunately, the other part of our story is that
I was going to ask you about that. Keep going.
That was a big part of it. We all win the state championship, and then we all start out young. You know what I mean, we always gambled, did everything. What you do in the hood, you know what I mean? We did that, and I went to juvenile my freshman year, and I taught the guys. We always shoplift, and we didn't have to. That was something we were doing, shoplift, make a little money, and we sit there and we gamble. And that stuff carried on later on. And our senior year, guys came, we graduated, we finished school, and we hadn't graduated. But they turned around and came with the deal they wanted to do the armed robbery. And I said, man, I've been juvenile twice. And I'm thinking juvenile. And I said, man, I'm not getting no more trouble. I told my mom, I'm not getting no trouble. I'm not doing nothing. I'm clean. And they were like, you selling out. You supposed to be with us,
Yeah.
I said, man, I'm not doing it. And they went on and they did a few times. And one day I went to the head coach and I said, man, I want to holler at you. And he was like, what you want to talk about? And we were rolling. I said, no, nothing. I started talking about something else. And he's still today, Freddie James is 83 years old. He'll tell you this story. And I was like, no, nothing I want to talk to you about. And you know what I think about today? I could have told it right then.
Yeah.
But if I told her I'd been a snitch in the hood, but I would have saved them.
Yeah.
But none of them would have liked me from that point on.
Yeah.
I was in the catch-22. And you were too scared to do it or you didn't want to do it, but now you want to go snitch on everybody. So I was in a bad predicament. You know what I mean? I still regret it both ways today because I know Gary would have been in the NFL. I know Derek would have been in the NFL. Derek going to University of Tennessee, #1 DB. That's how they wound up getting I can't think of the other cornerback real good that went to Tennessee. But then Gary was going to University of Houston.
Yeah.
Carlos was going to Ohio, I think. And these guys were going all over.
It's crazy. Everybody's getting scholarships. Like back then when scholarship and recruiting was a lot different too.
You had to really watch. You really had to recruit.
Yeah, and then the sad part about it was that, he went into in the courtroom and we all had, they were young and everybody had the same lawyer. So what they did, they brought everybody in on the same change game. So they had like 13 all changed done with orange jumpsuit and say we was a gang. We wasn't either no gang. We didn't know nothing about no gangs. And we from Texas. Gangs were back in probably LA back then. We didn't understand what gangs were.
Right.
But they said we was a gang and they tried everybody together and wound up getting Derek them like 80 years in prison, 70 years in prison. And then it was messed up because you shouldn't have never gave nobody no 80 years that had full scholarship. Yeah, they made mistakes. As an adult now, I'm an adult. There's no way that you should have been let to happen to young men like that. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And turn around, they were railroaded. And then when the new governor came in Texas, he granted them clemency to get out after 6 years or 5 years, whatever the year was. I'm not for sure. But it was messed up, the whole deal. And it was messed up by them. So I'm not taking nothing away from what happened because I would have been upset if that's my mom getting.
Was there a firearm involved with it?
Yeah. It was firearm involved in it, but not taking nothing away from none of this now. It was all wrong. But you get someone 80 years, you get somebody 70 years, you get somebody 60 years.
Right. They're trying to prove a point.
It was being railroaded all the way because they were pissed off about the state championship, all that stuff. And then
they held y'all. They tried to hold y'all back the whole time.
And if you go look at what Carter lost, it's a 30 for 30. And what Carter lost. It shows live footage of how the judge was so arrogant when he said this.
Yeah.
And you see live footage. So it's nothing that no one can say, oh, they didn't say this when it's live footage. And 30 for 30 did a great job showing it.
Yeah. Does it piss you off that in the movie Friday Night Lights, that they showed Carter losing the game?
No, they actually showed them losing. If you look at it, they make it where we're in the semifinals playing. We played in the state championship.
Okay.
So they play.
Okay.
So they act like they playing us in the state championship. We beat them in the semifinal.
Gotcha.
It's their Hollywood. They had the money, they had the backing, so they can do anything they want to do in Hollywood, because that's part of it. But the true thing was that they took that whooping, and everybody else took that whooping, and they can't take that back.
I love that.
Yeah, so
I like that.
They came back and asked for the championship rings and the trophies. I mean, you have all this stuff. You can't take the whooping. And they couldn't get it back. Everybody was locked up and had their own stuff. They never got that stuff back, but they can't take that.
Jessie, man, number one, I appreciate you always keeping the receipts. Number one, I can tell your passion behind a lot of these men that actually end up going to jail. Seems like really great friends of yours. You grew up together.
Yeah.
And so I feel the resentment in your words. Like, man, like, I really feel like I could have possibly helped when I didn't say something to Coach. And like, you really are double-sided on that. Like, I feel you. How did that whole moment change your outlook on life? Like, being able to let people in, did it really help you? Did it put up walls? Like, what did that do to you as a young man, knowing that how close you were to one of the biggest decisions and maybe mistakes possibly that you did make in your life?
First of all, I knew I had to represent from that point on. I'm going to represent, Dallas, represent Carter. That name always going to follow me more than anything. And then on top of that, I went to school. I wanted to be an FBI agent. I want to be a lawyer. I made sure it wasn't being law because I knew that was wrong what happened. I graduated in 3 years. It forced me to graduate in 3 years.
Yeah.
Because my thing was that you cannot let nothing like that happen. It should have been somebody around the country. Somebody came in and did something, and no one did anything, and everybody sat back. No one, today people would speak up, but back then everybody kind of sat back and just say, oh, just let whatever happen, happen. And so I got my degree in 3 years from the University of Miami. I never went home for the summertime. I just stayed in school. I grinded. I got it done, And, when I'm passionate about something, I do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it or you kill me, either one of them.
Now, do you think there was like any similarities by you going to the University of Miami? So we can just say people look down on Carter just because young black kids, right? Like that's no secret.
Yep.
But then you go to the University of Miami, and I mean, it was just like whooping fools day in and day out, blowing cats out. They were like the bad boys.
That was in the heat of it.
Yeah.
That was in the heat of it.
That was in the heat of it.
No,
do you see? Was there like a similarity? It's like, man, this feel like I'm back in high school. Like we the bad boys. Everyone looking down on us, but like we beating the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. Well,
like, was there some similarity to that?
I went to different university and visited them, but when I've been to University of Miami, it was like Carter High School.
Yeah.
So I went from one school to the next school. And when I got to the University of Miami, they challenged me before I got there. They challenged me when I walked in the doors. Normally you recruit somebody. They were like, man, you don't want to play in the country. We don't think you about nothing. I'm like, bro, I'm the...
Yeah. I'm that dude.
Yeah, I'm the dude. Right. I got into it with a few guys then. They were like, oh, he don't come back here. I'm signing here. I'm coming back here, and I'm gonna be the starter here. And I'm wearing number one. As I came in, I got number one. I came in, I did my starting. I became the best linebacker at the time in college football, heading that right direction. Tore my knee up, and then when I tore my knee up, then I came back and tore my shoulder up. So my whole right side was totally reconstructed, and everybody that laughed at my jokes back then, they weren't laughing at my jokes. I was by myself. But I've been in. I come from the hood, so I was down in the bottom by myself. And I'd go for the University of Miami. Everybody turned their back on me. They sent me to the doctor's hospital to go get therapy over there, not at the facility. Wherever else got treatment at. I did what I had to do, and I come back and I got my starting position back. When I got to the University of Miami, when that happened, they brought in another linebacker.
Okay.
And his name was Robert Bass.
Never forget.
Never forget.
This guy keep all the receipts.
I love it.
Never
I love
never
it.
forget. And so they when he came in, they said, University of Miami found a linebacker to replace Jessie. And I said, you know what? He was at the facility. I said, let me go see this guy. I bet he's not nothing. I can get over on my crutches. And when I went in there, he looked like a real linebacker. I got depressed. I lost 10 more pounds. I went back to my room. So I come out to the spring game, and I'm like, well, I guarantee you, he just look like they can't play, you know? And this son go out there, he's like, wham, wham. I said, oh, my goodness.
Cracking skulls out there. I said, whoa. So the media come to me like, well, what you going to do, about your position? I said, well, if I'm at 70%, I guarantee I get my job back. So that was a big deal. Just say if he's 70%, he would be the starter. I came back. I got my job. And he was my backup, But he wound up getting drafted before I got drafted. But that's how life worked.
That is how life worked. Talking about the draft, do you know that in 1993, your draft was the last draft with 8 rounds? Did you realize that? And not only that, on top of it, Peanut, but was it Mr. Irrelevant at the time? Did you get that? Because you were just the last guy. So when did they start the Mr. Irrelevant? Because you missed on that. Yeah, you missed on the parade.
No, you're right. It was 7 rounds, but they gave everybody an extra pick that year.
Oh, is that what it was?
It was 7 rounds to give everybody an extra pick because first year free agency, so gave everybody the 8th round. That's how they gave that extra pick. I didn't know all this. I realized that later.
Well, I'm glad you're teaching us though.
Yeah, I didn't know it either.
I didn't know it either. It was 7 rounds and the first year free agent, so they gave everybody an extra pick, and that's how I wound up getting picked with the 8th pick from the Giants.
Mm-hmm. Man, if they wouldn't have had that, you'd probably just been a free agent or the undrafted free agent.
He'd have been good though. He'd been at the bottom. Yeah. He used to be in by himself, obviously. So
I think that's kind of like your superpower though. Like when somebody tell you can't do something, it's just like, all right, I can't do it. Manifest it. I'm gonna keep these receipts, and you go out there and you just ball and you kill it.
I mean, that
seems like that's your story.
Yeah. No, you're right. It has been my story, and I figured it out, man. I that's one thing I look at all of us.
Yeah.
You look at the guys that's successful in life, regardless, they'll figure it out. And anybody that's competitive, you'll figure anything out.
Now, what was it like when you were at the University of Miami when you saw the Rock? Was there anything special about him? Was it like, oh yeah, this dude's gonna be pretty good, or is this like, whatever, he ain't gonna be nothing? Did you even notice him? Was it a thing?
Well, Rock could tell the story that he noticed me.
I like that.
Well, in the show, The Young Rock, the guy that plays you, did you really say that to him?
I was a dog on that camera. Like, you meet the nice side of me now. Because I'm a good changed man. So I was the guy you don't like me, you don't hate me. You know what I mean?
According to the movie, on the show, you said. He said, "Oh, you're the starting linebacker." You like, no, I'm the number 1 linebacker in the country. That's how you introduce yourself. I mean, you corrected me earlier, so it's not. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just exactly.
It is what it is.
It is. I am the number 1 linebacker in the country. You know what I mean?
So you ain't lying.
I went number 2. If I went number 2, I could say number 2. You know what I mean?
You ain't lying.
I've been number 2 before, and nobody remember number 2. I played in the Super Bowl. I lost it. They don't remember the number 2. They remember number 1.
I'm number 1. I'm the best linebacker in the country.
And I wear number 1.
I'm now wearing number 1. I love that. Man, it's hilarious.
So what was it like when you finally got drafted in that 8th round and you got to play? I mean, your rookie year was Lawrence Taylor's. That was his last year. Was my interpretation is when I got in the league, we still had like those old school vets to where, hey,
they had super vets back in the day.
Go tell Jesse, go get me something to eat.
I couldn't.
Like they didn't even talk to rookies. Yeah. So I can only. I'm imagining, but this is my theory is that he didn't even talk to rookies. LT Lawrence Taylor, like, did he?
Yeah, he
who was all in that linebacker room? Because
we had LT, had Pepper Johnson.
Okay, Pepper Johnson still. Yeah. Big fan of his.
Pepper the dog now.
Yeah.
You had we got in Michael Brooks. He came out of Denver. We paid him all that money that year he came in, and he's a beast, man. Mm-hmm. Michael Brooks. He came out of LSU and with Denver, and I mean, you were talking about the toughest linebacker you want to face. He's tough. And then you had Carlton Bailey came from off that Buffalo team. Mm-hmm. And we just let Banks had just left and went to Cleveland with
what are you talking about? Yeah,
it'll come. Coach. I need to talk about. It'll come to me.
Yeah, and so we had a room. We had a stack room. We had some young linebackers in there also. And we were sitting probably like 15 deep when I was there at linebacker. and I got in, and would my opportunity ever come? Because when I get to the third team and when I get to 14, drill over with, So, so I'm not never gonna get to show myself at all, you know what I mean? And I was real small, I wasn't a conventional linebacker. I was 225 pounds.
Yeah.
And I could just run, but we had linebackers 260 pounds that was grown ass men. You know what I mean?
And the game was different.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick was the coach.
Yes.
I don't know how we forget about because his time in Cleveland wasn't good. That's why we
not at all.
We forget about it.
You in Cleveland,
it was a blur. It was all a dream.
So that was back when you had real deal Sam linebackers. You played on the weak side, obviously, and where you really made your hay at. I just think it's so amazing. At what point you played special teams your first couple years, and then when did you get your first real break and crack and okay? And then from here on, it was all set in stone.
Well, I was running, covering everybody out there at practice, and either LT and Michael Brooks, I'm like, hey man, they got to put that young dude in, man, put him somewhere. And so what they did, they created me, put me in the slot. So I was a nickel cover guy.
Oh,
so people don't realize
damn.
that. You look
I
at
didn't realize that.
If people look at 9 and 3, I covered the slot. And I was used to covering the slot because the University of Miami, I never came out. I covered the slot. So it was just a common thing to me when I got there. But everybody was amazed. I'm like, shoot, man, you see the receivers I had to cover the slot. I had nightmares sitting there, in college. Mm-hmm. But make a long story short, I get there and I start playing and everything else. I had to go to special teams because that was an opportunity. And they wanted somebody to go down on the Scott team and give them a look. And I kept going down. And finally, they put me in the game. And that's when a lot of success happened for me on special teams. And I was so good on special teams, they wanted to always keep me there.
Yeah.
And then I loved Joe. Joe was a great special team, Deacon Miller. He was special team coach that went on and won him 2 Super Bowl, real good special team coach. But I decided that I want to be a starter after I got the starting position, and I couldn't leave Joe because that was my guy. And I still was starting on every special team and doing that. And eventually the Giants were like, no, he our guy. We got to cut him off.
See that? Another guy that started on defense and played special teams.
He's talking about himself.
Oh, yeah.
That was not
13
me.
years special teams starter.
That was not me.
Yeah. He was just like, I'm not doing special teams. We built the same way. We built tough. Yeah, we some dogs. I don't know about this bougie guy over here.
I'm honest. And because it's hard, though. I think if you play special teams, let me just look at the camera when I say this, all right? When you play special teams, you better do it young because you can't do it, not play special team and then do it late. It's like a young man's game. You need to get baptized early in it, and then you're good.
Early. Yeah.
Jesse, I got to know this, and I feel like I know your answer the more and more we've spoken to you, but I want to know, in Super Bowl 35, you had a pick 6 that got called back. The score was just 7-0 at the time in the second quarter. Does that pick change the whole outlook of that game with you guys and the Giants, possibly to win it? Versus what happened at the end result being 34-7.
Yeah, if you look at it, it would have changed the game because now they have to play an honest game.
Yeah.
And they never scored again on our defense. If you go through the game, everything else was the interceptions and the kickoff return and everything like that. They didn't score to the end of the game when the game was over with the last punch the ball in. But they had a great defense. They had a number 1 defense.
Yeah.
We had a number 2 defense.
Yeah, you guys were good too.
But they stood up to the mat. They stood up and they challenged our offense, and our offense
didn't have a great day.
They didn't have a great day, and they came out on top.
It's crazy though because first of all, that Super Bowl 35 is we're referencing Baltimore versus versus the New York Giants, and the Giants actually that year going back to it. I really thought Minnesota was going to win in the NFC Championship game. But your guys offensively just played lights out.
Yo, they played light out, and defense gave up 0 points. So I think
that's all you can ask for.
You play together,
Yeah.
And that's how it happened, and we had that was when you had 2 weeks in between the Super Bowl. I'm not saying we calmed, we simmered down or nothing like that. We went into in the Super Bowl, felt like that we won't win that game, and our coach. We had a good approach, but we had that approach like just play the game, and they had the approach that we don't go out, we don't enjoy ourselves, and we don't play the game, and we won't win the game.
Yeah.
So they had a mentality, and we didn't match that mentality when the game time came.
Who was that quarterback? Trent Dilfer?
Yeah.
Was Trent
For
Dilfer
Baltimore,
For
it was Trent
Baltimore?
Dilfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For them, it was Kerry Collins.
Kieran Collins,
Yeah.
Penn State,
Yeah.
I remember that.
And that's one thing that, you sit back and you say, those are things that you regret, deep down inside, I was very fortunate, won 2 national championships, but I lost one. And you start looking back when you get to a certain age in life, like, man, I blew that.
Don't look at me. Do not even look at me.
Do
not even. I knew. Next, I'm insults all day. So I lost 2. I'm 0-2 in my Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
I know we're family in that kind of situation. so I didn't want to bring that up.
It hurts.
Yeah, no,
I still talk about it. So then when we do these shows, we do these podcasts at Super Bowl, he's always just like, well, I'm good. I got my ring. I'm good. And then he throw it in my face because I never won a Super Bowl. It's just like,
I mean, it's really sounding like a hit dog holler situation right now because I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
he gave me that look, Jesse. He gave me that look.
I'm on your side because he's sitting on there shining. I won one. I got 2 on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's on the other side.
Yeah.
So when I wear, I wear my rings when I wear them, but. It's not like that one that he got on there. It's different.
So let me ask you this: after losing one as a player and winning one in the front office,
I won 2.
I'm sorry, excuse me, winning 2 in the front office. How does that feel?
It feel great. You know what I mean? It feel great, but I could imagine how it would feel
as a player.
Yeah. And that's why I never want to be in that situation again. If I hate to be in that situation, even if I'm in the front office, don't lose it. I know how it feels to lose it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is a perfect time.
Tell us about how I feel. He want to
trust me. He does. He does it all the time.
He got that quietness to him. Like, I got something to me too now.
As that little teardrop comes down, stop crying, fool. Happy tears. I hate you.
I tried not to bring it up. I'm trying not to bring it up. I'm trying not to. First of all, it does feel great. All I wanted when I went to Carolina with these guys, I wanted them to have that same feeling because I knew what it felt like. Yeah. And so when you have that locker room, those brothers, and you've been to the top, the pinnacle, and you win it, and and I'll be honest with you, Jesse, it was the first time I'd ever been in that meeting where the coach has nothing to say. And there's something to be said about that. Yeah. Like, oh no, we did it. And there's nothing. It's just pure outlandish joy. You get to share this moment. And for real, like you walk with that team forever. Like we're brothers. Same thing when you said about Dallas Carter's, like they can't take that whooping. Like they can't take that back. Yeah. And no matter what they say, no matter what they try and point fingers at, you have that to go along with you forever. And that's like that's after your dash. You know what I'm saying? When you die or whenever, it's like Roman Harper, Super Bowl champion, da-da-da. Like, that's part of me forever. And,
so when they don't put on a peanut, Lowe's, Jessie, Lowe's.
Peanut lost 2. Jessie lost 1.
That's up to you if you want to put it on there. That's up to you. I wouldn't say lead off with it.
It got to be on there somewhere.
So you want to put it on there, you know what I mean? Put it on there. But I wouldn't lead off with that. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, though, it's cool. I would say this. I want this question, though. Because you have 2 Super Bowl rings. But from your voice, what I'm hearing is that it's just different. And so is it better to have loved and lost or not have loved at all? Meaning, would you rather never have gone or go and lose and never go back?
I'd rather been there because I had a chance at the fight.
Okay. That's a great point.
And I've been at the fight from high school winning championship to winning 2 national championships and to be at the fight at the biggest arena you could be in the Super Bowl.
It's the biggest.
And that day, I didn't win in the biggest arena. And I normally win in the big arena. Yeah. And that was one time I didn't.
So from high school to college, then you get to the league. Was there a difference? Were you nervous when you got to that Super Bowl? You was like, nah, man, I done done this damn near like 3 times. Was there any nerves or was this like, nah, we got this. I got this.
I was never nervous from high school to college or college to the pros. Yeah, people don't realize I've been on top my whole life. Yeah, so it was nothing that you won't show me. And the only thing I have done wrong is that one time they had Eugene Lockhart, the hidden machine, a Dallas Cowboys linebacker, and they had him in the restaurant. And this one thing I did wrong. And they were like, Jesse, Eugene is back there. I'm like, well, I'm here. You know what I mean? I was high school then.
Yeah.
But that was, I wish a high school kid would have that mentality of a pro athlete that's in the building. He had that attitude. You don't have that attitude.
Right.
And that's one thing that always ate me up in the inside. That I'm like, how would you sit up there and think that you that dang good? This man is a professional athlete, and you sitting there but up think they should come see you, you know, because Michael Irvin, you had Steve DiAsi. They used to come see me play in high school. And I wind up playing with Steve DiAsi later on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they used to come to the pep rallies and stuff like that, and they want to see me play in high school. So you had a mentality thing that you had a certain kind of level in your mind.
Yeah.
But no, you just in high school, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Them professional athletes.
That's
you know?
funny. Like,
Yeah.
the one thing, like, dude, I have a regret, and it's all the way back to high school because I was just too much about me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you come off so humble now. I would have never guessed that, like, that was who you were then versus how, like you said, you've changed and become
Yeah,
who
if you talk to my wife, she hated me then. She hated me in college, and she loved when I got to the pros because I became a whole different person. You know what I mean? You know, and maybe the things you had, you know, like I got success so early, you know, and I had it all the way through. And most people normally get it in the pros or they get it in college. And I had it from day one when I first put on pair of cleats, you know.
Yeah.
And it normally don't happen like that.
It does not.
And hey, I rode the wave too. I rode it real hard, you know.
So when you retired, you played 15 of 16 games. You had 6.5 sacks. You had 100 tackles. And then you end up retiring. And on paper, it looked like you had a really good season. What do you think led you to retire?
Well, I actually went to Carolina, and a very interesting conversation told me I wasn't going to be a starter. They had a young guy, Witherspoon, and that I want to be his backup. I believe in letting everybody compete for a job.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I was better than him at the time, but don't put me in a box. And so after they put me in that box, I hurt my bicep.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I just had a surgery. I had the surgery, and then I just said, I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how long after did you like take time off before you transitioned into being the special assistant to the GM?
You know what? It's hard when you lead a game of football. You know, if you really love the game of football, it's just something that you've been doing all your life. And it took me a year and a half.
Okay.
Actually, the Giants called me back a year later in 2006 for me to come back for their playoff game. And they were going to sign me in the front office, and they were happy. But Tom Coughlin and I can't think of the defense coordinator name, they didn't want to have nothing to do with me because they just had a deal with Strahan going against Tom and all this kind of stuff like that.
They can't bring in no more super vets. We can't take it no more.
Yeah, so they were like, they didn't want to. And so they didn't sign me. And so Mr. Merrill, actually, you know, they all offered me an opportunity to be with the team. And, you know, you still in the inside. I'm like, nah. And then later on, I decided yes. And they brought me back in 2007, and everything else is history from that point on.
Yeah.
So what did you do to stay busy while you were away for like those
That
12, 13,
13, 14 months, you know, from the game. You know.
Can you play golf?
No golf for me.
Man.
No golf for me, man.
That's my passion. That's my passion.
Oh, man. I'm tired of hearing all your athletes talking about golf, man. Y'all can't play no golf, man.
No, I'm not that good, but I love it. It's all right. It's all right.
I don't have the patience.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to. Yeah.
You know, I do charity events because, you know, I help out the charity, but after I sit there like 9 holes, I'm like a kid then. You mad at me?
This is my spirit animal right here.
I start doing things I'm not supposed to be doing, talking on the phone. They be like, come on, man. Hey, bro, y'all come to my game, y'all argue, y'all fuss, talk about me, boo me and everything else, and you can't hit a little ball? Come on, man. So I spent time with my family, you know, and one thing I wanted to do is have an opportunity where I always can have time to raise up my kids.
Yeah.
Because I already took away from their life with the football part of it.
1,000%.
And so my thing was that I want to have an opportunity where I still could be with the kids and everything else. And I helped put in my work at the house and did my thing. And they came to Jersey and they wound up graduating from high school in Jersey and wound up going off to college and graduating from college. And now it's my free time to focus on whatever I want to focus on and keep improving at the New York Giants.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2 daughters. I have one, Jail. She graduated from TCU and wound up going to New York at LA Film Academy in Burbank.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And now she just graduated and is trying to get into writing and production and everything else. My other daughter, she graduated from North Texas and she into fashion design. And, you know, and now it's just me with extra time, my wife, and you know, she looked for me to go on and do something else. And I'm just going to keep working at the Giants, and I'm going to make sure that get that train back on track.
Yeah, well, talking about getting the train back on track, are you involved in any of the draft process? I know you guys drafted Kayvon Thibodeau last year in the first round. I think I actually called him an apex predator when he was in college because he has that type of ability. Just what's your involvement with upstairs, and do you ever help with the draft process? And over the years, who have you fell in love with, if you have, and who have you like, man, I totally didn't see that.
7 questions.
I just want to kind of like take him in the direction I want to go.
You can't ask 7 questions, bro. Just ask like 1, maybe 2. Let him answer one.
I'm taking him in the whole direction. I want him to spitball it all. Go.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you start, I also work with the day-to-day players, you know, and trying to actually help them in anything they need to know in any kind of way. Sometimes they run into problems they can't figure out. And they want to run by a big bro, they call, you know. And I talk to them, but and for as a draft process, I started getting involved in the draft process a little more each year.
Oh, nice.
And either we just brought up Thibodeau. A lot of people when Thibodeau was coming out, it was just questioning, was he going to be there for football or he going to be there for what come with football, the fame, the off the field stuff. But I looked at a guy like Thibodeau that was kind of like myself.
He was a top-rated player.
He was top-rated in the high school, got to college same way. And people don't realize, if you watch a person when they younger, they don't be consistent who they are when they get older.
Yeah.
And he still had that pedigree, and I look at him still have that pedigree now. And he just got one thing you got to stay focused and block out everything and work hard. You can't never sit back and take a deep breath, because you never can take that deep breath, not in New York City. New York wants you to perform every week. And that's why people want to say, what's so different about New York? Because you have a 1 week, next week, they expect some great out of you. So that's one thing why players don't make it in New York City. And that's one thing that he got to stay focused on, playing and performing every week.
Okay. That's a great concept. I always think it's so hard to play in New York, and you think like, oh, it's just the media. But like you said, it's like, no, it's the pressure to perform week after week after week at the highest level. Because like once you see it, we don't forget it.
Yeah. And New York like that. I mean, it's like, that's one thing that I'm well respected in New York, because I gave them everything I had.
Yeah.
And one thing about when they came in, when they seen that number 98, they knew that boy going to be there every Sunday for you, and he'll give you everything he got. Win, lose, or draw, you go home that night and say, hey, he gave it to us that night, you know? And that's how I look at it. I tell all players that come through New York, give them what you got. If you give it to them, they'll reward you in the long term. And I've been rewarded to be able to be with one of the greatest teams all my life.
Peanut, one more last question for me. Did you miss out? Did you miss out on your timing? Because like now that people can wear whatever number they want, you didn't get to wear number 1?
No, because you know why I wouldn't change it? Because when I was in high school, I wore number 46. They just gave me a number because I was nothing, and I put on that number, and I made it to being the number 1 linebacker in the nation that year, right? Then I got so cocky. I said, give me that number 1. And then I get that number 1, and I had 2 career-ending injuries, right? I get to New York, they say, hey, get that number over there. I'm like, 98, man. God.
That thing heavy.
The booker told me, say, don't worry about it. You won't be here much longer. You know what I mean? You know? And so every time I got handed something, I made it to become pretty good. When I chose that number 1, I had heck on my hands. Okay.
All right. But isn't it crazy how we work in those myths, though? Yeah. Like, it's funny how you weave that myth, and it's like your own interpretation. It's like, yeah, because I picked it, it's bad luck now. Nope. Someone just got to give it to me. Like the superstitions that players go through on game day. It's, oh, my God. Yeah, I have my own superstition.
Did you hear that little receipt he kept, too? He's like, oh, you ain't going to be here long.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got you.
Yeah. I still know the guy who told me that. He's still working at the Giants. I don't want to call him out, but he working there. He know I know him. He know I know him.
Oh, man, that's funny. So let's transition to, like, when you first got in the league, what was your welcome to the NFL moment when you got there? We all, whether it be a hit, whether it was, taking linebackers out to dinner, something in practice, something maybe a coach said something to you.
Well,
just
you had to stand on the chair. You had to say what school you're from.
Yeah, and
put your hand on your heart and say what your signing bonus was. And so I had to stand in front of everybody, and no big deal. Whatever I believe in, whatever you're supposed to do, I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
I did what I'm supposed
passage.
To. Howard Cross, I'm calling names out. I see
tight
you.
End.
Yeah, Big Howard. Howard, big tight end. He said, "Oh, what school you come from?" I said, "University of Miami." He said, "Didn't you just get whooped in the national championship?" Everybody started. I said, "Hey, man, but my first year, I got my first ring when I whooped you." Ooh, he wanted to fight me then, and it just came out. So they were after me then. You know what I mean? The tight ends, and so they were like, "All right," And so now they all were after me. I'm small. Okay, so we go to practice, and Derek Brown was coming across, and they all were after me. I must have tried to decapitate him. And he laid on the ground. I laid on the ground like I was knocked out till I just laid down. And he was the first round draft choice. I know the name. I laid down like I was just hot. Also they said, "Man, boy, that was a big time." I said, "Oh, I'm all right. I just make sure they don't cut me." They had to take him in. They took him to the locker room. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I was just trying to make sure I don't get cut. And that's when the older guys that were like dapping me up, and they kind of like brought me across. Then they said, "This little pretty tough."
Yeah, that's it. That's a great one.
That might be the best one I heard. He was like, "I hit him, but I was playing there like I was hurt too. So I didn't get cut."
Yeah, I know. I was
first round pick.
First round pick, but yeah, I just laid there. Are you good? Oh yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that might be the best one I'd ever heard. Oh my God, that's the best one.
All right, I want you to tell me. You just talked about bragging about winning a championship at Miami. Tell me a story or something that sums up your time at Miami, at the University of Miami, at that time too.
I wish I could have been there at that time.
Well, I tell you what, there's nobody. I'm just saying, I know guys work out and train. There's nobody that train and compete like guys at the University of Miami. Mm-hmm. We went at each other like games was easy. You know what I mean? We challenge each other. Ex-players come back. Mike, all of them come back. Melvin Bratton, you start looking guys that come back, they get challenged by the college kids, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We want to compete against them, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, he's in the pro. No, when you step on that field, we all go at each other, Yeah. And that was the atmosphere around there. You know what your brother next to you could do, and you had his back, he had your back. And that's how we rolled no matter where we went, and that's why we got in trouble together and we won together. You know what I mean? We weren't scared to get in no trouble and we weren't scared to win.
Yeah. That's a great point. I got friends that went to the U, and when we won a Super Bowl, not trying to bring that back up, we practiced at you guys' facility. And when I got there, because I'd always heard about the U, it's the U. And then I get there, I was like, bro, this place is just all right. Like the facility was not.
No.
And then my man Vilma was like, nah, bro, it's really about the people.
Yeah.
It's the people here that make it special. The guys that come back, the guys that represent the U. It's all about the players.
Yeah. Devin did the same thing. Yeah.
Devin did too.
So when we Super Bowl 41
You
or
guys are
whatever,
down there playing
we
Indianapolis.
practice at your facility as well. And then there's like the rope that you couldn't walk over the U.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
Oh, okay. But it was just like, and I remember someone said something, Devin was like, hey man, I swear to God, do not walk on that. Like it was like a carpet, it was the emblem or whatever. And I was just like, oh, y'all.
Well, I remember they said that it was like an old brown couch in the players' locker room. Like, bro, what's up? Like, and they were like, dude, like, it's so many fights that's been happening here. Like, God, you challenge cats and like, bro, you take it to
we had real fights.
Yeah.
It's not like, like if you want to challenge somebody, it's a real fight. You know what I mean? And it's not, we don't back down. You know what I mean? So, like, guys do all this talking and stuff like that, and we're not like that, man.
Yeah.
We don't fight you, we won't go at it, so.
Yeah. Well, look, I think that's it, Jesse.
Well,
man,
let's get out here on the question we always ask.
Oh, Mount Rushmore. If you had to pick 4 people that have had a very good influence in your life, mom, dad, brother, whoever, anybody you want to name, who would those 4 people be?
Be my mom, my dad.
All right, tell us why.
Well, my mom, because she stopped in 9th grade, not graduating high school, 2 kids, had kids 15 and had me at 18. Mm-hmm. And I can't handle kids, and I'm a grown man. I don't know how they did it, but she survived with 2 boys, Mm-hmm. And then my daddy, he was a street dude, you know what I mean? He found a way to take care of us and did what a man had to do. Yeah. Sometimes I didn't understand, but as a grown man, I understand now.
Yeah.
Very true. And so I respect him tremendously on that deal. He's not here no more, but hey, I'm just like him, you know what I mean? And go get her. Put me in the field, we'll figure it out, and then it'll be my wife. We've been together since we're 14, awesome. So she done seen up, down, and she been by me, and and nothing's been to make her leave, you know, and then be my brother, So my brother is considered my best friend. Mm-hmm. I call him now, no matter where I'm at, he's coming. So you got to deal with 2 of us. It might not be 3 or 5, 6 of us. It's 2 you got to deal with.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. Well, look, Jesse, hey, thanks for coming on the show, man. Appreciate you. I love the Welcome to the NFL Woman story. By far, my best one that I've heard of. All the guests we've had, that is by far the favorite on this show, man. Appreciate you. Wishing you and the Giants nothing but success this upcoming season.
All right. Now, thank you all for having me.
No, man. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for blessing with our time, man. I want to also thank my co-host, Peanut, man. Everybody that really pours into this thing, and Jesse pouring more time into us. Continue for all of our listeners out there, man. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Anywhere you pick up your podcast at, whether it's iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, please, thank you. Give us a 5-star rating, a review, click follow. Man, this was good.
This was great.
Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate that, man. Thank you, guys. We out of here.
All right.
I'm Peanut Tillman, and that's the NFL Player Second Acts podcast. We out.